What up, Raflitos? Welcome back to my channel. We are back on Heroes Highway here in Providence. That's Heroes Highway looking south towards Demerara Airport. And this is Heroes Highway looking north towards the traffic circle at Eccles. These are some of the warehouses in the neighborhood. Of course, this is warehouse central, so they're building a lot of warehouses. But on this side, that's the neighborhood in Providence and Peters Hall and so on. So the reason why we're back in this neck of the woods is because we want to see what is happening with the bridge, the Demerara River Bridge ramp access road here at Heroes Highway. So remember we said the government decided that the bridge, Demerara River Bridge, should have an access road that comes all the way out to Heroes Highway. And so there's been preparation for a long time, several months now, preparing for this intersection. Now, I said that this is going to be a traffic circle. It looks as if they're building a traffic circle. It turns out that since then, the government of Guyana, that is the president, has visited the site and has decided that the traffic circle at the west end, that is already built, should be bypassed. And that this bridge access, the access road on the west side of the river, should no longer empty into a traffic circle. So I'm going to wait and see what happens here, but clearly since the last time I was here, there's been some developments. As you can see, there's a pile of dirt now that extends for several hundred meters away from the intersection point. Now, as a point of reference, this is the bridge, right? So in the distance, you can see the towers. Those are the bridge towers. That's about 2 miles away at the riverbank, Demerara riverbank. You can see the towers above the roofs of the trees. You can also see cranes there. So they're still working on extending those towers, making them taller. Those towers will support the high span of the bridge. So the span will be suspended by cables. It's cable stayed bridge. And from that bridge, 2 miles away, they're building this access road. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the government has decided against building a traffic circle here, since they have cancelled the traffic circle on the other side. So on the west side, there is already a traffic circle at the junction where the bridge access road meets the highway, West Bank West Coast Highway, and the road to Schoonard. But the president recently, in a visit to the work site, determined that that traffic circle should no longer be part of the bridge access. So I wouldn't be surprised if they changed this, also changed this traffic circle that they were building into a more appropriate access point for the bridge. But however, what you will find over time is that if they're building a overpass, which is in fact the appropriate access point for this uh, bridge access road, then they would actually have to build a long ramp so that the overpass can be accessed from an exit. And this is, I'm saying, this is beginning to look like what they're doing, because that's a pile of dirt, pile of earth that is being built up. And since the last time we've been here, they seem to be building what is beginning to look like a ramp. However, the circle still exists, right? So remember the last time we were here, we said this looks like they were building a circle around the drain. That still exists. So all of this drain work still exists. Now there are 2 ways that they could have solved this problem. That is to get traffic from the east side of the road to the west side where they're building this access road. One would be to go under this road, but that would mean that this drainage system, this canal system, would have to be much wider and deeper, a tunnel that can carry cars and trucks. So we know that this is not the solution they're working on. They're not building a tunnel under the road to carry traffic. Although that would be one way to do it. One way to do it would be to build a large enough tunnel under Heroes Highway to carry this traffic across to the other side, and to bring traffic from the bridge to this side of Heroes Highway. But because of the size of these culverts, I'm pretty sure that that's not the solution they're working on. Now this is how far they've come since the last time we've been here. Remember, it's about 7:30, almost 8 o'clock in the morning now. You guys are working on the engineering here, civil engineering works. It still looks like what is a huge drainage system. You see there is a retaining wall. This is a large retaining wall that's being built, which is in line with the bridge. So straight ahead, that's the bridge. You can see it's 2 miles away, and they're building this large retaining wall to hold up the edges of the road. So it's going to be a 4-lane highway towards the bridge. Like I said, this is one way to do this would be one way to get traffic from the bridge onto Heroes Highway would be to have them pass under this road. But I don't think that's what's happening here, right? Because this drainage system that they're building is too narrow for traffic, but it is large enough to allow water to flow. So I believe this is a water channel that they're building. And they have made some significant progress with it. Right, so this is probably a drainage canal, just like I described in the previous videos on this subject. It's a very deep drainage canal system, and it's also going to probably continue along the sides of the access road. So this is what has been built so far on the 27th day of March. It's beginning to take shape. But the issue is whether in fact this is still going to be a traffic circle, or whether the government has decided to convert this into an overpass or flyover, some people call it. People have been telling me in the comments that the government has already decided this is going to be an overpass. Nothing would make me happier. I don't make these criticisms of infrastructure in Guyana to simply criticize the politicians and the government. I'm looking out for the best interest of this country. What we want to see is world-class infrastructure. So if they decided that this is going to be an overpass to move traffic over this highway, that would be an appropriate solution, but I don't yet see that solution forming. The way that would have to work is, first of all, they would have to take down several of these street lights that get in the way. A lot of these street lights, several of them would have to be taken down. Right, these street lights, the street lamps, these posts would have to come down so that they can build the overpass. And I don't see any evidence of that yet. So my theory on the traffic circle still exists. We'll see what they come up with, because the president has definitely canceled the traffic circle on the other side of the river. In other words, what I asked in the previous video is, I challenge anyone to go around the world, anywhere in the world, and find a bridge that empties into a traffic circle. And I'm guarantee you that there will be zero, because nobody does that. A traffic circle is a bottleneck, creates a bottleneck, and you wouldn't want to create a bottleneck at the entrance to a bridge or the exit to a bridge. That's just a recipe for traffic jams. What they've done here is they've excavated, seems as if they've excavated a lot of soil here, which means that they seem to be building some deep foundation, which of course would be required, some deep foundation for the access road, the road to the bridge. As you can see, that's the bridge in the distance. And based on the shapes, just the shapes of the construction work that's being done, you can see that it's a covered drainage system that is meant to carry water away from the foundation of the road. Because if you have water seeping into the foundation of the road over time, that will definitely destroy the road foundation. But this is what is happening here. That's the construction that has been completed. And this is the other side, that is we're walking on the western side of east of Kiros Highway. This is the drainage system that is being built on the west side. So the way it would work, right, is because traffic heading north, this is traffic coming towards me, to get onto the bridge access road would need an exit ramp, an exit here onto, would need to exit left onto the bridge access road. However, traffic coming from the north that is heading south to be able to get onto the access road at this point, would have to turn around. The only way to solve the problem of traffic having to turn around would be to build a traffic circle or to build an overpass. So traffic would have to exit if you were to build an overpass. Right, if the solution is an overpass, traffic would exit, in this case, left. Traffic coming towards me now is heading south. Traffic would have to exit left onto a ramp that eventually takes you to a bridge, right, which is what that pile of sand could become in future. But then you'd have to build a bridge across, it's an overpass across this part of Heroes Highway for traffic to cross over onto the other side. Now that is the way it is done in other countries in the world. Most traffic patterns, traffic networks at bridges do not use traffic circles because traffic circles create bottlenecks. You'd have to do that for traffic heading south, but for traffic exiting off of the access road and wanting to head south, that traffic would also have to use an overpass, and that overpass would have to have a ramp on this side, and I don't see any evidence of a ramp being built on this side, and it's pretty close to the intersection here, so it would be very difficult for you to put a ramp that allows traffic to join Heroes Highway from this side. So it's a very bad position to create that. It's a very bad position to create that access road. But we have to wait and see. It seems to me that because of the position of the access road, their initial solution, which was a traffic circle, would be very difficult to convert into a ramp, or at least very safely convert into a ramp because of its nearness to this intersection. Now this is one of the few intersections along Heroes Highway that actually has a turning lane. This is what I refer to as a turning lane, because the median, as you can see I'm standing on the median, they have cut into the median to create a turning lane at this intersection, and they have some traffic policemen directing traffic at the intersection. However, there's another problem, because traffic coming off of Red Road, which is the cross street at this intersection, needing to turn onto Heroes Highway, will have to turn into the fast lane or the passing lane. See that? So traffic turning onto Heroes Highway has to turn across the fast lane. And the only way for that to happen right now is if they have traffic policemen. To do that at rush hour, the only way to do that safely is to have traffic policemen directing traffic at this intersection. And that is the problem that I'm describing. When they were initially constructing the road, I actually pointed out this problem. So what you have is a major highway, Heroes Highway, with a bottleneck at this intersection. This is Providence intersection, Heroes Highway and Red Road. So poor road design. People still arguing with me about what causes traffic accidents. We can't control driver behavior. In fact, we can try, but the thing we have the most control over is the design of the roads, and this one is very, very poorly designed. It will take a lot of remediation in the future to get this road up to code. That is, to rebuild this road so that it meets international standards. But such is the problem. So those of you who are upset in the comments about the criticisms, what what I'm doing is trying to get the government to make proper decisions, to include professionals, experts in the design of this infrastructure, so that we don't get this kind of haphazard, unplanned infrastructure that is a recipe for inefficiency, congestion, and accidents in the future. But that's it, guys. That's what's happening in this neck of the woods. Just wanted to bring you up to date today on what's happening at Heroes Highway construction site for the new access road. This is the new Demerara River Bridge access road. Construction is moving, progressing. However, it is not yet clear how they're going to solve this problem without building a traffic circle, like I said. Clearly, they've started this construction site without properly planning for a overpass, which should have been the initial and the best solution for merging traffic onto this access road. But that's it, guys. That's what's happening here in this neck of the woods. Let's wait and see what eventually turns out, whether in fact the government does decide to change this access point into overpasses, and if they do, how they succeed at doing that, because initial construction here makes it difficult to convert this into ramps and overpasses. Let's wait and see what eventually happens. That's it, guys. That's what's up in this neck of the woods. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe in the comments below. Tell me what you think about this construction site. It's one of the major infrastructure works being done in Guyana right now. The largest one, in fact. This bridge construction is the largest infrastructure project being done. The government says that it should be done in 2026. That means for the rest of this year, we're going to come back and see how progress is made and eventually what happens to this bridge access at Heroes Highway. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Tell me what you think about the construction at this point. Tell me where you think it's headed and how you think they're going to solve this problem. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing country in the world, Guyana. Later!